Welcome to Passion for Sound, the channel dedicated to thorough and honest reviews of headphones, earphones, DACs, headphone amps, other components and accessories. Basically everything audio related except power amps and passive speakers. My name's Lachlan and my goal is to explore and discuss all kinds of audio topics, even the controversial ones, to help us all find more enjoyment from music. Thanks for watching and enjoy the video. Hey folks, welcome to another Passion for Sound audio review. And today a look at the Audiofly AF110. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know I'm always a fan of Audiofly's Pro products. They have fantastic ergonomics and always seem to get the tuning just right in terms of having a very deliberate approach for each IEM and balancing that approach to each IEM signature with a deft hand and a well-balanced finished sound. When Audiofly reached out to see if I wanted to review the new AF110, I was really keen to see if the trend had continued or if introducing some of the new technology in the AF110 may have taken them off that path. So that's what I'm going to look at in this review, is whether it stays true to form with the AF110 or whether things are a bit different. The AF110 retails for just 99 Australian dollars, making it incredibly affordable in the world of IEMs at this level of design quality in particular. To put that further into context, that means this is a $76 IEM, and so it sits alongside a lot of the cheaper products coming out of China, and I was hopeful that given Audiofly's heritage, it would therefore also perform as well or better than some of those options. To get started answering some of those questions, let's have a look at what you get when you buy the AF110. The AF110 is Audiofly's successor to their previous AF100 model, both the AF100 and of course the AF100 Mark II. I was a big fan of the AF100 Mark II when I reviewed it here on the channel, and so the AF110 seeks to replace the AF100 and go that next step further in terms of the evolution of that sound signature. Audiofly's intent when designing the AF110 was to produce a monitor for both street use, but also potentially for on-stage use when situations require more bass. So the reason those two things go together is that when we're out and about on the street, the background noise that tends to get through past the passive isolation of an IEM is the low frequency sound. That's the sound that travels through the bones of our skull, and so we hear it regardless of what we've got stuck in our ears. Therefore, by having an IEM with slightly greater bass output, you're able to offset the impact of background noise in the street and end up with a much more balanced sounding IEM when you're out and about with background noise. One of the things that separates the AF110 from the old AF100 and AF100 Mark II is that it now uses a graphene driver. Graphene's been popping up a lot in the audio industry and it has some fantastic properties which I'll talk about shortly, but that was one of the other reasons I was also particularly interested in the AF110 is I'm enjoying what I'm hearing from graphene products so far, and I was keen to see if the AF110 would continue that trend as well. So now let's talk about what graphene actually does. Graphene is a form of carbon that is particularly useful in audio because it's extremely lightweight but extremely rigid, which means it can recover better from the movements of the driver when it's reproducing the musical signal. And in talking to one of the designers from the Audiofly Pro team, it actually comes close to reproducing the properties of planar magnetic drivers. Another benefit of rigidity is it prevents the breakup of the cone that happens during extreme movements, and that leads to distortion. So in other words, more rigidity from the graphene should mean less distortion and a cleaner, clearer sound. Interestingly, as I spoke to Lee from Audiofly, the designer that I mentioned before, one of the things he said was that graphene actually has a slight issue, at least in this context. I don't know how it performs in terms of larger headphones, but in the case of an earphone driver like in the AF110, it's prone to ringing at around 3000 to 5000 Hz or 3 to 5 kilohertz. And so what Lee explained they had to do with the AF110 was actually increase the impedance to help tame that ringing. And that's why the AF110s come with a fairly unusually high impedance of 32 ohms for a single dynamic driver headphone. Now, it's not the first time I've seen a dynamic driver headphone with 32 ohm impedance, but it's not as common as your 16 to 20 ohm range that most IEMs tend to sit within. Interestingly, the sensitivity of the AF110 is also quite low at only 95 decibels. So in terms of general sensitivity, taking into account full-size headphones, they're still a sensitive IEM, but they're not in the plus 100 decibel range that many IEMs are. So these are going to take a little bit more power to drive than your average dynamic driver IEM, but not massive amounts of power. So they are still very much an easy, portable solution IEM, but they're just a little bit different to some of the typical models you might be used to. While we're talking about design and specifications and accessories and the like, let's talk a bit about what comes in the box with the AF110s. They come with a nice hard carry case. It's a fabric type case, but it is actually quite hard, so it takes a good squeeze before it buckles, and I like that for a protective case. It doesn't look expensive, it's still probably pretty cheap to make, but it's going to give your IEMs a bit of protection. There's also the usual range of tips, including some silicone and some foam tips, and then the IEMs themselves with a very simple cable attached, nothing special about it. It is unfortunately still a little bit prone to tangling, but nowhere near as bad as the old Audiofly cables used to be. The thing that I love the most about Audiofly IEMs though stays true in the AF110, and that's the beautiful shape of their housings. These are still to this day the most comfortable shaped IEMs I've ever worn, and I mean that about all of the Audiofly Pro range. This kind of teardrop shaped moulding with the relatively small nozzle in the past, although in the case of the AF110 it has gone to a larger nozzle, but the overall shape still works really well and I find it incredibly comfortable. So in higher end models from Audiofly, these have always been an MMCX connector here, but in the case of the AF100s and now again in the AF110, these are fixed cable connections, and so there's no option to replace cables. There's no swiveling of the MMCX connector because it's a hardwired fitting. So with that in mind, they meet my expectations of what an Audiofly headphone or earphone should be in terms of comfort, quality of design, etc. And then all of the rest comes down to how good do they sound. Remember I said before, Audiofly have always impressed me with very deliberate tunings that have deliberate signatures in different models, but always really well balanced. And I have to say, it continues on in the AF110. Enjoying this video? If you are and you'd like to help me make more videos like this one, there are lots of ways you can help, and most of them don't cost you a cent. You can help for free by liking this video, subscribing and ringing the bell, sharing this video on social media or your favorite audio forums, or by making your next purchases using any of the affiliate links in the description. Obviously that's not technically free, but you're not spending anything extra and it all helps out. Want to go a step further? You could buy some merchandise, t-shirt, hoodies, caps and the like, or you can join the Passion for Sound family on Patreon. It's a growing community with plenty of interesting discussion and your chance to influence what happens on the channel. Check out the description for more information and links where relevant. But for now, let's get back to the video. I find it to be a more extreme tuning perhaps than the AF100 was. The bass, at least by perception, I haven't gotten side by side, but my perception and my memory, I think the AF110 is even punchier still than the AF100. Now that might be because the tuning of the frequency response is different, or it might just be the characteristics of the delivery of that frequency response in terms of the punchiness of the graphene driver might be changing my perception of it. Because sound out of IEMs and headphones is not only about frequency response. Sometimes it's the characteristics of the way the driver starts, stops, moves the air. All of those factors come into play in addition to the frequency response. So I don't know if it's differently tuned or if it's just a different presentation of a very similar tuning to the AF100. But what I do know is it sounds fantastic. It's really enjoyable if you like a bassy sound. There's no doubt in my mind the AF110 is going to be too bassy for some people, particularly if you're listening to it in quiet spaces. For those of you that love bass, or you're going to be using these in noisier environments, I think you'll find the AF110 a really compelling option, particularly in its price. The bass is punchy and strong, but it's tight and it's well controlled. It never felt to me like it was getting loose or slow or bloated. It's just strong and weighty and always present in a good way. I don't mean it's overdoing it when there's no bass in the track, but it's definitely got a really good sense of presence when you want it. The mid-range is smooth and it benefits from that warmth in the bass, giving an extra sense of weight and body to the mids, but again without going too far. Throughout both the bass and the mids, everything from the AF110s is highly enjoyable. As you get into the treble, that's probably the place that I'd start to nitpick a little bit, but keeping in mind the pricing of the AF110s, I actually think they're doing a great job. So my nitpick, which as I said is very minor and given the price is probably insignificant, is that the treble can get just a little tiny bit grainy or dry at times. It's not bad, it's not harsh, but if I'm comparing it to an ideal sound, they're just a little bit on that dry or grainy side. That said, as you'll hear shortly, when compared to some of the competitors on the market, they're right there at about the same level and doing a lot of other things far better. Before I get to those comparisons though, the final thing I want to mention about the sound from the AF110s in isolation is that they produce a wonderful soundstage. And that's been a common theme I found throughout the entire Audiofly Pro lineup, is they do a wonderful job with their soundstage. In the case of the AF110, the soundstage for an IEM at this price is bigger and deeper and better focused than I'm ever used to hearing at this sort of price. It's really impressive, and whilst it's not at the level of mid-tier and above IEMs, for a budget IEM, it's really impressive. Perhaps the most impressive part of its soundstage is that the AF110 projects a sound that is not just wide, but also projects outside the front of the head. So you get a good sense of depth and not just width, which is what most of the competitors in that same sort of price range do. And to put that further into context, I've put the AF110 up against two really strong competitors at the budget end of the market, namely the Tin HiFi T2 Plus and the BLON BLO3. Both of these are right at the top of my list of recommendations when people are asking for good budget IEMs. The Tin HiFi T2 Plus offers a more neutral sound, the BLON BLO3 a slightly warmer sound. So I thought I'd put them both up against the AF110 just to see how well they were really performing. Starting with the T2 Plus from Tin HiFi, it's a slightly different tuning, and therefore I was looking at it in terms of whether or not its more neutral tuning could produce a better sense of soundstage and space and detail. But what I actually found was that whilst the treble was a tiny bit smoother from the T2 Plus, and that's definitely a benefit, the overall sound was almost a little bit too lean after coming from the AF110, and more to the point, because that leanness is not necessarily a bad thing, particularly as we adapt to it. But the thing that held me back from preferring the T2 Plus was that the soundstage was actually smaller and more cramped, which is really surprising because normally bass gets in the way of soundstage a little bit, but in the case of the AF110 versus the T2 Plus, the T2 Plus with less bass actually still had the more cramped soundstage. The soundstage from the T2 Plus felt like it was all pushed back inside my head and quite limited and quite congested in comparison. That's not to say the T2 Plus is a bad IEM, I still think it's a really good performer, but it goes to show just how well the AF110 is doing the soundstage. Now, it's an important note here, I'm not suggesting that the AF110 is definitely the better IEM than the T2 Plus, because their signatures are very different. The T2 Plus is much closer to neutral than the AF110. It might be a little bit shy of neutral in the bass, but it's definitely closer to neutral. The AF110 is a coloured earphone, and therefore, if you were looking for neutrality, I would never recommend the AF110. I would recommend the T2 Plus still. However, if you were just to say to me, what's a great sounding earphone in that sort of general budget price range, I would choose the AF110 before the T2 Plus for general overall enjoyment of the sound. And so with that in mind, that's why I turned to the BLON BLO3. For a long time I've considered the BLON BLO3 to really be the flagship of enjoyable, engaging sound with a budget price tag attached. And so it made sense to me to put it up next to the AF110 to see if, despite being a bit more expensive, I thought the AF110 was worth the extra investment and could unseat the BLON BLO3 as my engagement budget champion. And it was a pretty close call. I think in the overall balance, I probably would lean slightly to the AF110, and that's going to partly be because of its ergonomics and its comfort and its overall quality of build. But at the same time, they both do that kind of engaging, warm sound really well, if slightly differently. Now, the differences that I'm talking about are that the BLO3 actually comes across a little bit more neutral and a little bit brighter than the AF110. which may surprise you if you're familiar with the BLO3 because they are quite a warm, rich sounding earphone. The AF110's bass extends deeper than the BLO3 and it's got a bit more weight behind it than the BLO3, and that's part of why I prefer it. But once again, the real winner for me with the AF110 comes back to that soundstage. The BLON BLO3 does a nice job with the soundstage, but again, it's mostly inside the head. The AF110 has that larger soundstage that projects forward of the forehead, and very importantly for me at least, it's got much better focus of the notes. The BLO3 does a decent job at focusing the sounds, but with the AF110, in comparison, it's like going from something that's ever so slightly out of focus to bringing it into being tack sharp. Now, it's not laser precision sharp like really high-end IEMs, but it's really, really good from the AF110. And so from that point of view, whilst I do think the BLON BLO3 is probably still the winner for pure budget performance, spending the extra to get the AF110s, I believe is a better choice if you want to start hearing what a higher end IEM can do. Ultimately, I think the BLO3, T2 Plus and AF110 all have a really strong place in the market. The BLO3, as I just said, is kind of still your absolute budget champion. The T2 Plus is a great choice if you're looking to try something closer to neutral, not truly neutral, but closer. And then the AF110 for me is what you would buy if you enjoy bass and or if you want to start hearing what a higher end IEM is going to do in terms of soundstage and focus of image. If you're someone just getting into IEMs and trying to work out what you like and you don't like, I think the AF110 is a really good option to try as part of your journey of discovery. At the price, it's really hard to go wrong. They're going to be enjoyable, particularly with genres of music that require better bass, so electronic, hip-hop, rap, EDM, the like, all of those sorts of genres are going to be great through the AF110s, and I've found them thoroughly enjoyable during my time with them. I think the graphene driver has shown straight away that it's got huge potential to bring incredible qualities to both the bass and the mid-range of the sound, and I'd love to hear it integrated into a higher end model with a little bit more finesse and a little bit more tuning applied, particularly for that top end. Maybe in a hybrid approach where the graphene driver doesn't have to worry about doing the treble and leave that to a balanced armature. But anyway, that's a dream for future. For now, I think the AF110 is a fantastic option for bass lovers, those using IEMs outdoors where they need a bit of extra bass to deal with the background noise, or just someone looking to experience a great soundstage from a budget IEM. If that sounds like you, I'll put links down below where you can pick up the AF110s or just read more about them. And as always, a quick reminder that if you've enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, subscribing and liking makes a huge difference and really helps the channel so I can keep bringing reviews like this through to you. For now though, I'll leave you to it. Happy listening, and I'll see you here next time on Passion for Sound.